Hey there, everyone. This is Dave Dubeau with another episode of the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. And today we're up for a real treat because not only are we interviewing an interesting and a fun fellow in Mark Podolsky, but also Mark is doing, at least for me, kind of a different style of real estate investing that I don't know anything about. So I'm very, very curious about getting Mark's perspective on these things. And that's all about investing in land, all right, and how he manages to do this and create cash flow from investing in land. So welcome to the podcast, Mark. How are you doing today?
Dave Dubeau, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, I love Phoenix, Arizona. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful city, beautiful state, great place. And is that where you have most of your land holdings?
No, actually, most of my land is going to be the Southwest, a little bit in the Northwest, California, and Florida. I mean, Dave, let's face it, nobody wakes up and thinks to themselves, boy, I'd like some raw land in Minnesota today, unless you live in Minnesota.
There
So
you go.
we want to go those fast-growing sunshine states.
That makes sense. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about how you got started in real estate investing, how long you've been doing this stuff, and more importantly, what kind of attracted you to investing in raw land?
Okay, so basically I started in 2001, and I've been doing it full-time ever since. I've done 6,000 land deals.
Wow.
Now, the way I got started in it, I was working as an investment banker, specializing in mergers and acquisitions with private equity groups, and I hated it, Dave. I wouldn't get the Sunday blues, anticipating Monday coming. I'd get the Friday blues, anticipating the weekend going by really fast.
That's when you know your job sucks, man. That's when you know you really need a career change.
Yeah, absolutely. So this guy at my firm tells me that as a side hustle, he's going to tax deed auctions. He's buying up raw land, pennies on the dollar. He's flipping them online, and he's making a 300% return on his investment. So I'm looking at companies all day long, and a great company has 15% EBITDA margins or free cash flow. Average company's 10%. I'm looking at companies all day long, less than 10%, so I don't believe them.
Yeah.
So I go to New Mexico with him. I've got $3,000 saved up for car repairs. I do exactly what he says. I buy up 10 half-acre parcels at an average price of $300 each. I flip them all online at an average price of $1,200 each. It
Wow.
worked, 300%. So I took all that money and went to another auction in Arizona where I live, and there's no one in the room. This is 2000. I'm buying up lots. I'm buying up acreage, and over the next 6 months, I made over $90,000 cash on that one auction. So I go to my wife. I'm like, honey, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to be a full-time land investor. And she says, absolutely not. She's pregnant. So it took me about 18 months for the land investing income to exceed the investment banker income, and then I quit. And I've been doing it full-time ever since.
All right. Well, now that's starting to all kind of fall into place in my noggin. I know a gentleman named Ted Thomas who's very well known in the whole tax lien, tax deed world. So now I'm getting the gist of what you're doing. That makes a lot of sense. So are you basically doing that same idea? You've just kind of blown it up even bigger. Is that pretty much no?
No, now it's completely different because
Cool.
you know, my philosophy is I can always make more money, but I can't get more time. So we're 90% automated now with software systems, virtual assistants, delegation, automation, and software in the back end. Geekpay.io automates getting paid from my borrowers. So Dave, where do you live?
I live in a place called Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada.
Okay. Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada. And let's say for our illustration that you own 20 acres in Texas, right? But you're in Canada.
Mhm.
So and let's say you owe about $200 in back taxes, right? So basically you're advertising two things to me. Number one, you have no emotional attachment to that raw land. You're in Canada, properties in Texas. And number two, you're distressed in some way because when we don't pay for something, we don't value it in the same way. And so you've got $200 in back taxes. The treasurer is sending you notices every month. If you don't pay your taxes, you're going to lose that property to a tax deed or a tax lien investor. So what I'll do is I'll look at the comparable sales on that 20-acre parcel let's say for the last 12 to 18 months, I'm going to take the lowest comp and I'm going to divide by 4. And that's going to get me what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety. So I'm going to send you an offer on that property because I don't want to be like the housing guys. I want to say I'm interested in buying your land because now we're in the negotiation business. So I'm going to send you an actual offer. Let's say it was the lowest comp was 10 grand. The most I'm going to pay for your property is 2,500, right? So you take it. Now, in reality, 3 to 5% of people accept our quote unquote top dollar offer. So then we go through our due diligence. I got to confirm that the property taxes are only $200. You still own the property. There's been no breaks in the chain of title. There's no liens or encumbrances, legal access, all these things. I have a whole due diligence checklist, right? And I outsource that to our VA team in the Philippines. We pay about $11. And at the same time that they're doing due diligence, they're creating my marketing package. I'm getting plat maps, GIS maps, aerial maps, photos, videos, everything I need for my marketing. So then after I buy that property from you, Dave, I'm going to sell this property 30 days or less. You know my
3 days or 30 days?
30 days.
30 days.
I've got a built-in best buyer for this parcel. Do you know who it is?
Who's that?
The neighbors. The neighbors.
Smart.
So I send out neighbor letters saying, here's your opportunity, expand your holdings, protect your privacy. And so oftentimes the neighbors will buy it. Now, the way that I'll sell it is where the magic happens. Because now I'm going to get a down payment of $2,500. I might go out 6 months. And then I'm going to finance it for, let's say, a car payment of $489 a month at 9% interest over the next 84 months. So I've created cash flow of $489 a month for the next 84 months. No renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with a tenant, I'm exempt from any onerous U.S. real estate legislation, Dodd-Frank, RESPA, or the SAFE Act. So the game that we then play is, can we create enough of these land notes where our passive income exceeds our fixed expenses, and then we're working because we want to, not because we have to.
My goodness, my friend, you were able to put that in a synopsis that was very, very concise and easy to understand. Sounds like that's not your first time explaining how this whole thing works. So that is smart. So you're creating
my third time, Dave.
Yeah, no, you're getting your initial investment back immediately as the down payment. You're creating a note around this at a pretty darn good interest rate. 9% is pretty good. What are the terms usually? How long are you usually financing this for? Like,
they can go out between typically 36 to, if it's a really big deal, I might go out 180 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other thing you can do is you can take that note and you can go sell that at a discount and cash out if you so decide.
Exactly. So what I would do is I would sell a partial on that note. So 12 months of the cash flow to an investor, I get my money out or I make a profit, I redeploy it, but I get 2 bites of the apple because then that note reverts back to me after 12 months and I'm getting that beloved passive income back into my portfolio.
I had never even heard of that before. So there you go. That's I didn't know you could do that.
See, Dave, this is why you have me.
This is why this old dog loves learning new tricks. That's for sure. That's fantastic. Mark, very, very cool stuff. So I don't imagine you're an investment banker beforehand, so you're a sharp guy, very, very creative around different things. But how long did it kind of take you to develop this whole process? It must have been a bit of
years.
Yeah. I don't imagine there was.
I've made $1 million
this from.
No, I mean, unfortunately, I didn't have a mentor.
Yeah.
So, which was like one of my biggest mistakes also. But I didn't know. I just thought, these are great margins. We're making 300 to 1,000%. And I'm in an inefficient market, but there's all these little nuances in real estate and deals and money I didn't know. And then just running a business. So I had solo economic dependency, which means if I wasn't working, I wasn't making any money.
Mm-hmm.
This is another job. Right. So essentially I created all the systems so that I work 2 hours a week in Frontier Properties, just looking at the numbers so that I can go on and do things that I really want to do in life.
Well, yeah, because you've got it dialed right in. It's all by the numbers. There's absolutely none of your emotion tied up into anything. You're just saying, okay, if I make 100 offers on 100 different properties this week, chances are I'll probably get 3 of them. Is that what you said? About 3
Correct.
of them will accept? Well, goodness knows how many offers you're sending out every week, but it's probably a lot. Mm-hmm. And then it's just a numbers game. Okay, you'll pay up to 25% of minimum value on that property, and if they accept it, then you start your due diligence. So, what are those 3 that accept? Give or take, what do you think how many of those actually turn into properties that you purchase?
I'd say on average about 1%.
So 1 out of the 3?
1 out of 3. Yeah. Because sometimes they'll be in a state deal. They haven't done their probate. It's a probate deal. And I'll just pass. I mean, deals are like a bus. There's another one right down the bike.
And the nice thing is you're not even really, your VAs are figuring most of the stuff out for you, right?
They're doing everything for me. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Gotta love the Philippines.
I love the Philippines. I love software. Yeah. I used to have a woman in South Carolina handwriting my envelopes, sending out my offers. We use an API with lob.com, automates it. It's amazing.
And it looks like it's handwritten as well?
No, it doesn't look handwritten, but one day we'll get fancy. Yeah, but there's really no competition. I mean, this is like the least sexy niche on the planet.
So that's what makes it so sexy, man.
Yeah, that's what makes it sexy. Like I was just watching the DIY network with my wife. Yeah. I'm like, can you imagine seeing Flip This Land? The before picture, raw land. The after picture, raw land. And just me in front of my computer, geeking out.
Yeah, it's not going to make sexy reality TV, that's for sure. But
no,
it in my mind, that sounds very, very, very sexy. So now that you've been doing this for a while, I imagine you've got a lot of people that have been asking you about it. And have you started training people and teaching people how to do this stuff too?
Yeah, I mean, I love teaching people because I'll be honest. I mean, nobody ever really said to me, Mark, you changed the trajectory of my life by helping me buy this raw land. Like that never happened. They like the land, but now that I've helped people retire their spouses, quit their jobs, be able to retire, it's been the most gratifying thing I've done professionally my entire life is helping people get out of solo economic dependency, create passive income so they can truly move up the ladder of Maslow's hierarchy of needs into self-actualization. It's amazing.
Yeah, that definitely is what we all get a kick out of, that's for sure. So now that you're showing people how to do this, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people making when they're getting into buying raw land?
One of the biggest mistakes I see people making is really going to be picking the wrong county, right? They think, well, I live in Iowa and I know this area in Iowa, but the world doesn't want land in Iowa, right? So picking the wrong county is oftentimes a big mistake. Not being persistent with getting the list. So I'll call the county and say to the county assessor, hey, can I get the list of people in real property? They say, that's $500 for us to give that to you in a CD, right? Well, the newbie would then hang up and say, next county. I would call back and ask for the IT department. Can I get that list in Excel format? And they'll just say, here, I'll email it to you. So getting the list is the second big hurdle. And then I think the third biggest hurdle is in the marketing. Often they think 1-2 ads is going to do it. No, you got to be like Geico and you got to just show up consistently every single day and market property. And that is going to move the needle.
Oh, I can see it, especially the kind of volume you guys are probably doing. I mean, that's a whole science in and of itself. It sounds like you got a lot of stuff on the go, Mark. What would you're obviously a very smart guy. You come from investment banking in the first place, and you've done very, very well with this. What would you say is your unfair advantage?
I think my unfair advantage is probably my mentor, actually. Uh-huh. So I've got a mentor. He sold his company for $360 million.
Nice.
His mentor is a billionaire. So being able to have that sort of resource where he's very tough on me. And I'll never forget, I was talking to him about, doing this and doing that and doing this. And he's like, Mark, he's like, you remind me of one of those kids. Remember when you were a little kid and you take the magnifying glass out and you try to kill ants?
Yeah.
He's like, if you just keep moving the magnifying glass around, you create a lot of heat, but it's not until you hold it down in place, you kill an ant. He's like, you need to kill an ant and focus. And really having, somebody to bounce ideas off of and, kind of tell you the honest truth about your weaknesses and where, you just don't know what you don't know. I think that's my unfair advantage. That along with meditation. I love meditation.
Nice. Very nice. It's the first time I've heard somebody say meditation, but yeah, I can see that being a big advantage. So, as we're wrapping up here, Mark, I told you it was a fast interview, and you jam-packed it. I love that, man. I mean, my brain's kind of tingly here with the opportunity there.
Okay,
what
great.
are some? If somebody wants to find out more about you and what you're doing, do you have any free resources for people? Anything people can take a look at?
Yeah, I've got a $97 passive income launch kit. I'd love to offer your listeners for free.
Nice.
So if they can just go to landgeek.com/launch kit, they can really dive in a lot deeper and see if this is something that fits well with them or not.
Perfect. That sounds good. Now, you're definitely an action taker. From all your years of experience, you've been doing this since 2001. What would be one valuable, actionable tip you would give somebody, besides going and getting your kit and taking a look over it, if they just want to kind of get their feet wet and start the process here? What would you suggest?
For $2.99, they can get the Kindle book Dirt Rich, which talks about my story. I mean, that is kind of self-serving. So let me give them something else.
Sure.
Okay. I would say the first thing they would want to do is go to, I would say, I wish land investing were a little more simpler as far as like that first step is going to be county research. So there's 3,007 U.S. counties. I would say look where other people are buying raw land and start there. Mm-hmm. That might be, checking out. And that'd be worth checking out. I know it's counterintuitive. You'd think, well, I don't want to go where there's any competition. There's really no competition.
Yeah. And that shows there's demand, which is really what you kind of need, right?
Correct. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If I was the only one doing it, you'd be like, well, yeah.
Oh, this has been fun, Mark. So again, what's the best website for people to find more out about you?
The landgeek.com/launch kit. Or they can just start on the landgeek.com.
Perfect. And we'll have those links in the show notes. Mark, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for your time today, my friend.
Dave, thank you so much. I've been trying to say Property Profits Real Estate Podcast 10 times as fast as I can all day. Still struggling.
You got it. You got it.
I got it? All right.
I only say it once because if I try and say it twice in a row, I screw it up. All right. Very good.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Take care. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks very much for checking out the Property Profits Podcast. And if you like what we're doing here, please head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. Be very, very much appreciated. And if you're looking to create a regular flow of inbound investor inquiries about your real estate deals, then I invite you to attend one of my upcoming live online demonstrations. And you can check that out at investorattractiondemo.com. Take care.